it's going to be me, Jessica, and then we have three of our amazing interns. So Sean, Harrison, and Michael. They're going to be covering Robert's Rules, Brown Act, and the 9+1. So I'm sure many of you know what SCCC is, but for some of you that might not know, we are a nonprofit organization and we are representing the 2 million students in the California community college system. So we are always making sure that we are amplifying our students' voices to drive our legislative priorities and to drive our mission and values here at SSCCC. And we have three main pillars. So it's system participatory governance, legislative and policy advocacy, and regional support. So we make recommendations on policy decisions that impact our students. So we have listening sessions. We really are on the ground listening to students' concerns. We introduce and sponsor legislative measures based on what we hear from the students. And we provide resources, trainings, and support to SBA. So if you need further assistance, if you would like more resources or more trainings on the topics that we are going to cover, please do let us know because we do provide this type of resources for our community. And now I am going to pass it to our intern, Sean, and he will be going over Robert's Rules.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. Nice to be here. It's great to see student leaders and students in general interested in leadership. So one of the things that you're going to come in contact with quite a bit as a student is Robert's Rules of Order. So we'll go into that in a little bit, but if you can go to the next slide, just quickly. I want you all to take a minute to think about what a meeting needs to be successful. So if you could make a handbook or a rule book, kind of outlining how meetings are supposed to be conducted so that they're run efficiently and everyone is respectful of one another and all that kind of stuff. What would that look like? Well, if we go to our next slide, that's what Robert's Rules of Order really is. It's meant to provide some structure to different meetings, especially meetings of larger legislative bodies, where important decisions are being made and people need to have that order to be able to, have discussions, meaningful discussions in a timeful manner. So there's kind of two components to Robert's Rules. You have the chair who leads the meetings, and then you have the assembly who is having those fruitful discussions and is kind of having that back and forth and making decisions based on the information that they're provided. So for those of you that are going to be chairing meetings this coming year in your SBAs, your job is to ensure debate remains respectful, that everyone receives the opportunity to speak because it is their right, encourage debate, and allow for the majority to prevail. So as the chair, you should always remain impartial. This means never participating in debate between the members of your meeting or dictating the direction of the conversation. Now, something to note here, that means, not just verbal cues saying, yes, I agree, no, I don't agree, but also your posture, your body language. If you're nodding when one person is speaking and you're frowning or making, kind of faces at everyone when someone else is speaking, maybe something that you don't personally agree with, you want to kind of minimize that behavior. As the chair, it really is your job to remain neutral and to direct the rest of the body, provide them as much, information and background as possible, and making sure everyone is able to provide their feedback and their opinions within reason. So one other thing to consider is establishing community agreements. We at the SSCCC have some. So if you look at any of our board of directors meetings at our agendas, you can see the community agreements will be listed in there. If you want some inspiration, also on Google, you can find community agreements and kind of get some inspiration from that. Remind everyone before your meetings that why people are there, the kind of decorum that people are going into these meetings with as well. You're in charge, so rule fairly and be strong. It's important to remember that a lot of the times people will be looking to you as a chair to be leading discussion and kind of guiding how the meeting will be conducted. So make sure you your stuff and you're being respectful of everyone's time. Also want to comment quickly on the flip side of this, the assembly. So those that are having the discussions and voting on different items and that kind of stuff, you also have some degree of responsibility. So this stuff isn't just important for the chair to know, it's important for you to know as members of the assembly to make sure you're able to hold your chair accountable. Or if you're a VP or someone else in your student body that maybe would step into that chair role or your chair committee or something, also very. So if we can go to the next slide, please. There are several classes of motions. Now, motion is something that causes the body to take action. Is at its core is what it is. So the most common motions are main motions. They're motions that introduce new business, and they can only be made when no business is pending on the floor. So if I make a main motion to host, X event, I make a new main motion. You know what? I want to start talking about why we can host Y event. That the first motion about X event needs to be dealt with first. Secondary motions or subsidiary motions, excuse me, refer to the motion on the table. They outrank the main motion, so you can make a secondary motion or subsidiary motion while a main motion will still be considered. But the discussion will now kind of transfer over to subsidiary motions. Some examples are call the question, postpone, or amend. Amend is probably the most common of those. And anyone can make these motions, by the way. The maker of the main motion doesn't necessarily need to be the one to propose amendments. In fact, typically, the maker of the motion isn't the one that proposes amendments. So you also have privileged motions. These don't relate to the pending motion, but are dealt with immediately. So these take precedence over other motions. They are adjourn, raise a question of privilege, and some, so raise a question of privilege doesn't need to be voted on, whereas adjourn and recess would need to be voted on. There's also incidental motions, questions of that do not affect the pending business itself. Those are also taken up immediately when they're made. They include points of order, then division of the question. Both of those are not divisible. If this seems like a lot of information and a lot of different types of motions, a great thing to do is, again, I refer you back to Google. There's a bunch of resources out there. People have made really good guides where you can kind of see, the different types of motions, how they're dealt with, and their rank as well. But these are kind of the general classes. So we can go down to the next slide, please. So if you've never seen this before, motions are handled by the assembly, and the chair is kind of leading that discussion. So we're going to kind of run through quickly how to handle a motion. So first of all, the motion is moved. So we're going to use a golf cart as an example. So if I want to make a motion, I can say, Chair, I move to allocate 500 to the purchase of a new golf cart. Someone else, I would have to be recognized by the chair to make that motion. If someone else would like to second that motion, then they can do so. They don't need to be recognized by the chair. They can just say, I second. If no one seconds the motion will die. Something to keep in mind. As chair, you want to make sure you're giving ample time for people to second the motion. You don't want to say, okay, the motion to allocate $500 towards the purchase of a new golf cart has been made. Any seconds? Nope. Okay, motion dies. You want to make sure there's enough time in between the making of the motion and the opportunity to second before you let the motion die. So as I did just there, the chair will restate the motion. And it's important to keep in mind, again, for members of the assembly, this is where you can hold your chair accountable. It's important to make sure that the way the motion is stated by the chair is the way it was stated by the maker of the motion, because it's however the chair restated the motion, that the motion will be handled. So yes, make sure that is correct. And don't be afraid to raise your hand and say respectfully, hey chair, I think, if the chair says, all right, the motion to allocate $600 toward the purchase of a golf cart has been made. You can say, hey chair, I think the maker of the motion actually moved to allocate $500. That's totally okay to do. So the chair will ask if there are any objections. If there are any objections, the motion will go into pro-con debate. The maker of the motion will have the ability to give the first comment on the item, and then the person that objected to the motion raise their hand and say I object. They'll have the opportunity to go second. This is where you want to make sure as a chair and as an assembly, you're not kind of speaking in echo chamber. If people are, everyone's kind of in agreement, maybe you have one person that's not super on board, but everyone else kind of agrees about what's going on. You don't want to just keep taking pro comment, especially if it's repetitive. People aren't introducing new information. You as a chair have the right to say, okay, it seems like there's no new information coming to the assembly. And then you can move into step number 5, which is to put the motion to a vote by the chair. So again, the chair, to make it extra clear, repeat the motion and what each vote would mean. So if I was the chair, I would say, okay, the motion to allocate $500 for the purchase of a new golf cart has been made and seconded. A vote in the affirmative would mean you do approve of the allocation of $500 for the purchase of a golf cart. A vote in the negative would mean you do not approve of the allocation of $500 to a new golf cart. So make sure that that is very clear to your assembly. Then people would vote, all in favor, either say aye or by show of hands. There's several ways to do that. Again, can be found a little bit more information online. Your ASG will usually have a kind of precedent already established of how to do that, or it might be in your bylaws. So speak with your advisor if you're not sure on that. If there is no objection, you won't need to vote unless money. So in the golf cart example, we would still need to vote as an assembly. But if it's just, if it's taking a stance on, say, a policy, a district policy, or if it's, discussing, okay, will we even, set a date for an event maybe, that doesn't need to be voted on. Finally, the motion result is announced by the chair. So let's say, we have 11 people on our board. Let's say 8 out of the 11 people agree that $500 should be allocated to the purchase of a new golf cart. I would restate, okay, 8. So for the motion to allocate $500 to the purchase of a new golf cart, 8 votes in favor, and then maybe 2 votes against, and then 1 abstention. Motion passes. We want to make sure the result is clear as well, whether it passes or fails. Okay, I know there's a lot of information, so if you have questions, you can put them in the Q&A in a little bit. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. All right, so something to keep in mind, as I mentioned before, debate and decorum is super important. Confine your remark floor. You want to make sure anything that you're talking about is pertaining just to the motion that's being considered. Something that can get kind of confusing here is if a main motion has been made and then someone proposes an amendment to that motion, you're no longer debating the main motion. You're debating the amendment to the motion. So for example, we can use the golf cart, $500, the purchase of a new golf cart. If someone had proposed an amendment to lower that number to $400, someone had seconded, we're now discussing the amendment. You're only discussing, okay, should we be changing this amount from 500 to 400 in the main motion? You're not debating, should we allocate, should we be spending on a golf cart at all? Like that's not the discussion that should be happening. Second point, refrain from attacking members' motives. We always make sure you're discussing the idea, not the person. So when you're addressing your remarks, as it says in number 3, address them through the chair. So chair, I'm not sure if we need $500 to purchase a new golf cart. That may be too much. We want to make sure we're careful about how we're spending our money. You don't want to say, hey, Harrison, I really don't like that you are allocating $500 to a new golf cart. And I've seen the way you spend money, and I don't like, what I mean? Like there's a way to do it respectfully, and make sure you're addressing everything through the chair. So number 4, refrain from destruction or negativity. Raise your hand to be recognized, especially during debate. Seconds are unique in that you don't need to be recognized, but for everything else, you should be getting recognized. And then 4 as well. You're there for the students ultimately to serve the people that have elected you. So please keep that in mind. All right, next slide, please. All right, so keeping it germane. So as I mentioned, debate and amendments need to relate to the pending topic. So if an amendment has been made to a main motion, all your discussion needs to be surrounding that debate, or sorry, all your debate needs to be surrounding the amendment until that amendment has been solved or dealt with, and then it can go back into the debate about the main motion. Again, going back to our example with the golf cart, if I would really like to host an event, that's completely unrelated. Like I've been talking to people about this event. People seem super interested. I don't want to be talking about hosting that event during discussion of this amendment, or sorry, of this motion to allocate funds for a golf cart. It's not germane. Chairing the assembly must ensure speakers stay on track. So as I said, as a chair, you're going to be holding your assembly accountable. As an assembly, you want to make sure you're holding your chair accountable as well. A chair can rule that comments are out of order. So as chair, if you do notice that people are kind of getting off topic, or are kind of repeating like old information, it is totally within your right to jump in and say, hey, just want to let you know, I don't think that this is germane. We want to make sure we're staying on track, and our meeting is staying structured as it should be. Also refrain from filibustering or introducing a new topic through an amendment. So yeah, amendments are meant to be used to modify motions on the floor. You can't use an amendment to really like introduce a whole new concept or idea. Keep that in mind. And then filibustering as well. We're here to get stuff done. So if someone needs to leave in 20 minutes, don't sit for 20 minutes speaking about why you really don't like this amendment. You want to make sure things are really able to move. All right, next slide, please. All right, so some of the parliamentary points that you want to keep in mind are point of order. So points being made to challenge the chair, their ruling, decision, or procedure. So like I said, if you notice the restated a motion incorrectly, you can point that out. As it says here, chair point of order, the motion was restated incorrectly. You can also have a point of information that's used to seek information about an item. So if you as a member of the assembly, or even as a chair, you notice that you feel there's not enough information on a certain item, and you think maybe an advisor or a guest speaker will have more information to kind of inform your decision as a voter, you can ask for that information. So chair, point of information, I would like to know if Pizza Planet was contacted about a school discount rate or if this budget is based off the original price. You can also do request a point of personal privilege. So requesting that your rights not be violated. This will often happen if font is too small on a screen or you'd like additional materials. So anything that's distributed to the rest of the assembly, you feel that you need that material to be able to make an informed decision about the vote. Then you can say, chair, point of personal privilege. Could I receive the handout given to the assembly? I did not receive it. And that is totally within your right as a member of the assembly. Then if we can go to the next slide, please. All right, so some common secondary motions are to amend the main motion. So you can amend by adding or striking, or you can strike and add. So let's say, going back to, let's speak for at this point. Let's say the motion on the floor is to allocate $200 to the purchase of pizza for a transfer fare. You can strike the $200 and insert $150 and propose that as an amendment. You can also postpone consideration of an item. So if you notice something is taking too long or people feel like they don't have enough information, which is often what happens, people feel like they like the proposer of the motion to go back, kind of gather some more background info and come back to the assembly. You can postpone consideration of the item to a future meeting, or if you want, you can also postpone it to later in the meeting. So if you have a time certain item and someone still hasn't shown up, then you can move to postpone that agenda item. You can also refer an item. So if you don't have enough information or want more prep work done by a committee, so maybe ICC or something like that, you can also refer an agenda item or a motion consideration of an item, a committee. All right, next slide, please. All right, we're gonna do a little bit of practice here. So if any of you want me to, are kind of overwhelmed, seems like a lot, remember that this is being recorded, so you can always come back and look at the recording. You can also find examples of this stuff online. So we can go to the next slide, please. All right, so we went over this briefly earlier, something similar, but we're gonna go over a proposal to amend. So let's say I am the chair, I make the agendas, and the agenda item that's written out is ASG will review and adopt a budget of $5,000 for the spring General Assembly in Los Angeles. Now, let's say one of the members of the committee likes that amount. They say, I move to adopt a budget of $5,000 for the spring General Assembly. And someone seconds that motion. It goes on, we see, what, based on our budget, based on last year's spending for spring General Assembly, we don't really think that 5,000 is necessary. We want to make sure our ASG is working within a $4,500 budget, so we're not overspending. Then to make that proposal, someone of a member of the assembly would raise their hand, get recognized by the chair. Chair would say, you're recognized. Member would say, Chair, I move to amend the main motion by striking 5,000 and inserting 4,500. The chair would then restate the motion. So the amendment on the table is to move to amend the main motion by striking 5,000 and inserting 4,500. Is there a second? Someone can say, I second. And then the chair would say, okay, we'll now be, and maybe, chair restates the motion. Or the motion on the table is to amend the main motion by striking 5,000 and inserting 4,500. Are there any objections? Someone objects. You let a pro con debate, and that's kind of what happens. All right. Now we're going to go into the next example. So you can also move to divide the question. So if an agenda item, if I as chair, like, these two seem pretty similar, we can kind of throw them on the same agenda item. And the agenda item is ASG will review and adopt a budget of $2,500 for the Fall Advocacy Academy Conference and $2,500 for the Spring General Assembly. If, the discussion of the assembly leads us to kind of hoping to consider these two items separately, the budget for Advocacy Academy and the budget for General Assembly, someone can make a motion to divide the question. So the way that would be done is that bottom line, I move to divide the question so that the question of adopting a budget for the Spring General Assembly separately. That can be done. It's best to do that before a main motion has been made. If a main motion has already been made, you can do this as well. So let's say, I do adopt a budget for the Fall Advocacy Academy Conference and $2,500 for the Spring General Assembly. That's been seconded. Debates going back and forth. Someone says, what, I think we should consider these separately. So therefore, I'm going to move to divide the question, as you see at the bottom right there. Then you'd vote on dividing the question. If the question is divided, then the two motions would immediately begin to be handled separately. So you have debate on the first portion of that motion, which is the $2,500 for the Fall Advocacy Academy Conference. And once that is resolved, so if there are amendments that need to be made, they're made to that motion. The main motion is dealt with and is closed. Either everyone votes in favor or against, or there are no objection. And in this, if it's money, you would still need to consider votes. But once that's closed, then you go on to the second portion, which is the budget of $2,500 for the Spring General Assembly. And then you, again, make motions, do whatever you need to do with that motion, and then that gets closed off and dealt with. Okay, next slide, please. You can also postpone a motion. So as I mentioned, if the board feels that there is not enough information on whatever item is being, typically that's when motions to postpone will happen. So if the agenda item is ASG will review and adopt a budget of $2,500 for the SBA golf cart, and the board feels that there's not enough info, I can, if the main motion has already been made to adopt a budget of $2,500 for the SBA golf cart, and it's been seconded, we're now discussing that main motion. And the discussion goes towards this feeling of there's not enough information here. One of the members of the assembly can say, I move to postpone consideration of this agenda item to our next regular meeting. The motion must be seconded and then voted on as well. So something to also consider here is if you're the chair and you notice that discussion is kind of heading a direction where people aren't maybe disagreeing about the disagreeing or agreeing on the motion itself, but are thinking, hey, maybe this should be postponed, but the members of the assembly don't really know how to say that or how to propose that using. It is part of your job to be familiar enough with this. Say, you know, based on the way discussion is going, I'm going to call for a motion to postpone this agenda item. So you are able to do that, and same thing with dividing the question. You're able to do that as well. Be very careful about guiding your assembly in a certain direction when you're saying those things. You just want to make sure that they're aware of all the options that are available to them. If you feel as though they don't maybe understand how to make what they want happen. All right, next slide, please. I'm going to go into a quick Q&A. So I noticed one question in the chat. My understanding of what you said is that you can skip a vote if you leave an opportunity for opposition after the second and no one opposed. Is that accurate? And if so, is there a difference when meeting in person versus via teleconference? Great question. So yes, absolutely. If a motion has been made and seconded and there are no objections to that main motion, as long as the motion isn't dealing with money, then you're able to pass something by what's called unanimous consent. Or excuse me, unanimous consent is something separate. But if there are no objections, then the motion will pass. If money is involved at all, if you're talking about allocating funds or moving funds from one account to another, or purchasing something, then a vote needs to be made, and the votes of the assembly need to be recorded by whoever's taking minutes. And then as far as differences when meeting in person versus via teleconference, also a good question. I know someone else, I believe, is getting into Brown Act, so I'll kind of touch upon that a little bit as well. But something to keep in mind is when you're dealing with money and you need to do a vote, the easiest way to do that online is to do a roll call vote. So you want to call each person's name, and that way the person taking minutes can see, each individual person, yes, no, or abstain, and they can record that information. If you're online, you're over Zoom and you do show of hands, and the hands are all up for 30 seconds, or people don't have cameras on or have their cameras on or whatever, you can run into a lot of problems there. So you want to make sure if you're dealing with money, especially online, you want to do a roll call vote. Hopefully that answers that question. Any questions? Then I will pass it off to Harrison for our next section.
Hi, everyone. I'm Harrison, and I'm going over the Brown Act today. Next slide, please. So the Brown Act is a California state law. It's enacted in 1953, and it guarantees the public's right to attend and participate in meetings of local legislative bodies. The Brown Act governs local agencies, legislative bodies of local government agencies created by state or federal law, which includes ASOs and ASBs and student body government organizations, and any standing committee of a covered board or legislative body, and governing bodies of nonprofit corporations formed by a public agency. So as mentioned, right, student governments fall under this Brown Act. Next slide, please. We'll be going over 5 primary portions of the Brown Act today. What is a meeting? Teleconferencing and in person, the meeting types, meeting agendas, and conducting a meeting. Next slide. So the definition of a meeting is any congregation of a majority of the members of a legislative body at the same time and place to hear, discuss, or deliberate upon an item that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the legislative body. Meetings with only deliberation, even if no action will occur, are subject to Brown Act. Workshops, conferences, study sessions, and retreats are exempt. However, discussions are allowed to be called and are part of the agenda. And so even if you're doing discussions, even if no action will occur, you still must post the agenda. Individual conversations are allowed. However, serial discussions are strictly prohibited. This means that I cannot go to someone else in my board and go, hey, how do you feel about this? I want you to vote my way. And then that person's going to go, hey, this person said this about this. I want you to vote his way. These include daisy chain and hub and spoke discussions. One thing to note is that you can meet and discuss if you do not meet quorum. However, you are not allowed to take action if you do not meet quorum. Next slide, please. So there are three primary meeting types. There's regular meetings, which happen the most often. There's special meetings, and there's emergency meetings. So first we'll go off of regular meetings. Next slide, please. The majority of your meetings will be regular meetings. In fact, you may only have regular meetings during your terms. Regular meetings allow for multiple agenda items, are subject to 72-hour posting requirements. I believe that's a minimum, and may follow a regular schedule as a result of action on behalf of the governing body. So I'm sure we've all experienced examples of these. There are your regular weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, however often you have the meetings where your Senate meets and they discuss items and they discuss actions and they take actions according to what the agenda is saying. I'm sure a lot of your advisors or your parliamentarian will take care of the posting the agenda. And at least for my college, we post our agendas at least a week in advance. Next slide, please. Special meetings. So special meetings may be held anytime and are held to address one specific item of business. Special meetings allow for only one agenda item to be discussed. They are subject to 24-hour posting requirements. It must be made known to all voting members via written notice and website posting. And special meetings should be used for special circumstances and not clerical or posting errors. So this means that if you mess up during a regular Senate meeting or during a regular meeting, you should not create a special meeting in order to make up for that. Please put it in the next Senate meeting or talk to your advisor and see what the next steps are. Okay, next slide, please. Emergency meetings. So emergency meetings are extremely rare, but they do occur. They are held only when prompt action is needed due to actual or threatened disruption of public facilities, are subject to 1-hour posting requirements, except in the case of a dire emergency. An emergency is defined as a crippling activity, work stoppage, or other activity which severely impairs public health, safety, or both. While typically they should never have emergency meetings, SBAs have had emergency meetings during the COVID pandemic, as well as some schools have had wildfires near their locations, which caused them to evacuate. Those are circumstances which warrant emergency meetings. Next slide, please. Okay, so the next subject that we're going to go over is teleconferencing. We're going to go over the definition of teleconferencing and also the rules behind it. Next slide, please. Teleconferencing or teleconference is defined as a meeting of individuals in different locations connected by electronic means through either audio or video or both. So the provisions. Each teleconferencing location must be identified in the notice and agenda of the meeting. So here at SSCCC, if you're part of the executive board, or if you go to any of your executive committee your executive agendas, you're going to see all of the locations listed of each officer where they're going to be taking the meetings. Agendas must be posted at each teleconference location. So the agendas must be posted either online, in person, or both. And each location must be accessible to the public. So what exactly is accessible to the public? We're going to have a pop quiz. Next slide, please. Regarding accessibility, is an apartment on the second floor of a building with no elevator considered accessible? Take some time to think about it. If you would like to raise your hand or if you'd like to put your response in the chat, please do. Okay, I hope you've all had enough time to think about your answer. Please go to the next slide, Michael, and reveal it. No, the answer is no. All meeting locations must be accessible according to the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. Like Sean mentioned, you can also do a bunch of your own research outside on Google to look more into what the Americans with Disabilities Act is. Next slide. So AB 2449, it was adopted in 2022, and it allows for SBAs to use teleconferencing without noting location on the agenda for just cause or due to emergency circumstances. The provisions are, you have a quorum and location, you have audio and video, and there are consecutive meetings. So this came about obviously during the pandemic. And while provisions, as part of the provisions, you must meet quorum in a single physical location or in a physical meeting location that is identified on the agenda. You must have audio and video on at all times. And you cannot use AB 2449 more than 3 consecutive months or 20% of the regular meetings within a calendar year, or more than 2 meetings if the legislative body regularly meets fewer than 10 times per calendar year. Additionally, you must disclose if anyone over the age of 18 is present in the room with the voting member. All votes must be performed by roll call. As Sean was mentioning, you go one by one. You go, okay, person Y, do you vote? What's your vote? Person Z, what's your vote? So that way your parliamentarian or whoever is taking care of your meeting minutes understands and has an accurate representation of the roll calls and the votes. Definitions of a just cause and emergency circumstances can be found online. And physical or medical emergencies, contagious illnesses, caretaking or childcare, travel related to SSCCC, or a physical or mental disability not already accommodated are just examples. Next slide, please. Okay, meeting agendas. No action or discussion shall be undertaken on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. So let's say that you forgot to post an agenda item and you really want to talk about it. You are not allowed to talk about it until the meeting or until the agenda item is posted in the agenda. So you would have to wait until the next Senate meeting for your item to be on there in order for you to discuss it. Agendas must provide a brief general description of each item of business to be transacted or discussed at the meeting. The description must provide enough information to inform the public about what's going on. So you can't just put something very vague and very loose, but the description doesn't need to be overly long. The agenda must specify the time and the location of the meeting. And so here's an example of a meeting agenda. Can you go to the next slide, please? So if you look at the top right, you have the Student Senate for California Community Colleges. Underneath that title, you can see what kind of committee it is. You can see if it is a regular meeting, special meeting, or emergency meeting, and you will see the date and the time. Additionally, we like to differentiate between discussion items and action items, and we recommend this for all of your SBAs and ASOs. A discussion item is no action may be taken. Discussion items are intended to provide information and have discussions. It does not require quorum to occur. So as you can see here in standing item A, the executive roundtable and the committee reports are discussions. There are times for people to give reports. There are times for people to have conversation. There's no action being presented, and they are allowed to happen without quorum. However, if you go to standing item C, that is called an action item. Action items are intended for the body to take formal action. You need quorum to be able to take action. So if you see in this specific example, there's discussion and action. So there will be discussion about possibly taking action on the board of directors accountability and stipend reports for May. That's all that description needs to have, but if there's a possibility for action, you should put it in there just in case. Next slide, please. Posting the agenda. The agenda must be posted in a location that is freely accessible to the public. If the agenda is posted in a building that is locked to the public over the weekend, that time does not count towards the required 72 or 24 hours. So let's say that you post the agenda on Friday and your meeting is on Monday and you go, oh, I have 24 hours. That would not count towards the hours. unless the agenda is publicly available to those outside of whoever has access to it on the weekend. A regular or special meeting agenda must be posted on the student government website. However, web posting is not a substitute for posting the hard copy. We recommend that you do both. Next slide, please. Conducting the meeting. So the public is allowed to participate, and you must allow the public to comment on matters on the agenda before or during consideration of the item. You may adopt reasonable regulations on time allotted for public testimony, which means that you may put a time limit on them to ensure that the meeting stays on time. So quorum is represented by 50% of your board plus one voting member present. No quorum, no action. However, you can do discussion items without meeting quorum. So oftentimes if we don't meet quorum, we will go over the discussion items first. And then once we have met quorum, we will go over the action items. All right. I hope that I did a good job at explaining everything. It was a lot of information. So please, if you have any questions, send them to me or drop them in the chat or send them to someone and maybe we can have them read them out. Okay, I'll wait just a little bit longer to see if anyone has any last minute questions, and then we will move on to the 9+1. Okay, seeing and hearing no questions, I'd like to pass it on to Michael, who will go over the 9+1.
Oh, hang on, you have one question.
You want to read it out loud, please?
Can we use this same concept in a student club on campus?
Dr. Adams, would you like to speak on this topic?
Sure. Thank you, Harrison. So you can use the same principles. It is not a requirement for clubs because clubs are not Brown Act bodies, but you can use some of the effective practices. For example, posting your agenda in advance to encourage students to come to the meetings. Setting expectations, so setting the agenda with clear descriptions of what you're going to do on the agenda. So you can use some of the effective practices that were that Harrison presented as part of your clubs, but it's not required because you are not a Brown Act body. Student body associations are Brown Act bodies. Your board of trustees are Brown Act bodies. Those are legislative bodies as Harrison described there. And if anybody else has any other questions, if you don't want to drop it in the chat, you can just raise your hand and we'll unmute you. I hope that answered your question.
Okay, if there are no further questions on that topic, then I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I am Michael Rodriguez. I am the intern of Region 5, and I'm going to talk to you about participatory governance and your 9+1 rights as a student. So first of all, this poses a question: what is participatory governance? So it's kind of in the name itself. It's participating in your governance committees. So, you know, infrastructure committee, college council, student success, etc. By participating in those, that would be participatory governance. So Education Code Section 70901 to 70902, the Board of Governors shall establish minimum standards and local governing boards shall establish procedures not inconsistent with those standards to ensure faculty, staff, and students have the right to participate effectively in district and college governance, and the opportunity to express their opinions at the campus level and to ensure that these opinions are giving every reasonable consideration. So essentially, this just defines that legally you have a right to be sitting in your college council committees and to express your concerns and your opinions in these meetings, which should be public and available to you. The right of academic senates to assume primary responsibility for making recommendations in the area of curriculum and academic standards, areas of curriculum and academic standards. So this part just defines that the Academic Senate primarily makes recommendations to all of your governing boards as to how they should be running things. But aside from that, you should be able to voice your concerns. So moving on to 9+1 rights, these are listed in front of you. These include grading policies, codes of student conduct, academic disciplinary policies, curriculum development, courses or programs which should be initiated or discontinued, processes for institutional planning and budget development, standards and policies regarding student preparation and success, student services planning and development, student fees within the authority of the district to adopt, and any other district or college policy, procedure, or related matter that the district governing board, aka your board of trustees, determines will have a significant effect on students. I cannot stress this enough. All of these have an effect on you. So it is your individual responsibility as student body associations to be appointing your members to sit on these committees and be made aware of all of these changes that affect you. Furthermore, I know this is a lot of information, but should any of you request for us to do trainings on your campus in person, one of our favorite things to do is hand out these helpful little cards, and they actually have your rights listed on the back of them. So principles of participatory governance. These are all of the things that we like to highlight are important components of participatory governance. So transparency and accountability. All of your committees are Brown Act compliant. So as Harrison just went over, they should be posting their agenda 72 hours in advance in areas that are accessible to you. Their meeting locations should also be accessible to you, and they are public forums. So you are allowed to go in and make public comment should you wish. And for those of you who are appointed to sit on the committee, you also have a vote as well as a student representative. So, and then we have collaborative decision-making, emphasizing collaboration and consensus building. Participatory governance encourages collective problem solving and decision-making. So by working with your college committees on all of the agenda items listed and communicating your concerns, you're encouraging an environment where your input is welcome. And of course, inclusive representation. So all bodies are represented in your college committees. So faculty, students, and staff alike. Everyone's role is different. So we as students have 9+1 rights, but something similar also applies to faculty, like they have 10+1 rights. It functions a little differently, but the structure is pretty similar. But for now, we'll be focusing on student rights. So student participation in governance empowers student voices. So by sitting on your committees and, you're supposed to be coming to these with concerns and ideas that you have from your peers. Everybody's experience in college is different. We all have our own individual struggles, but when there are things that are affecting us and could be made easier or more equitable to our needs, it's your responsibility to speak up about it. And that of course, applies to challenges faced by students and creating opportunities for student involvement. So by occupying a seat, you're ensuring that that seat will continue to be available to students. So you're setting a precedent by sitting in these committees and taking the responsibility of remaining informed of them. Faculty and staff engagement. So of course, as students, your activity in these committees is appreciated. It also trickles down into faculty and staff engagement. So it encourages them to be more active in listening to what's best for us. And in general, it fosters a progressive environment. So what is the value of participatory government? Participatory government supports inclusiveness of individual and community viewpoints in collaborative decision-making processes. So we all have different opinions on things, and it's always good to hear every perspective. It develops a greater sense of participation and ownership. So, with great power comes great responsibility. By sitting on these committees, you're taking charge of your role as a student body member. And it promotes mutual respect and trust through open communication and collaboration. So if you're actively participating and openly communicating things that concern you, then you're more likely to be taken seriously. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. Tailoring strategies to campus needs. So depending on what the majority of your peers are in need of, this is how you can go about addressing that. So identify challenges, what's troubling you, formulate action plans, how are we going to go about addressing that, and implement change. That's the execution of whatever you're planning to implement. And of course, empowering student leaders, here's key components to that. So redefining the role of SBAs from event planning to participatory governments. This one actually sticks out to me because my college was established in the 1960s, and for quite some time, my student body association has only ever been known for putting up, fun activities like dances and pep rallies and such. But we've gotten to a point in time where that's no longer what we're all about. And we're actually currently in the process of rebranding. And part of that in our actionable steps is taking the responsibility of sitting on our committees. And that's how we take charge and show our district that we're rebranding what we're about. And so pretty soon we're going to be going by Student Government Association rather than student body. And then next, amplifying student voices and empowering them to drive meaningful change on campus. So by sitting on your college committees and staying informed about all these issues that are affecting you, it's an inspiring act in itself, and your peers are more likely to want to take that charge as well. So in order to do so, you should leverage communication channels and collaborative partnerships to elevate student perspectives. So if there are things that you want on your agenda on any upcoming meetings, make sure you're emailing your chair to, make use of all the communication channels that you have available to you. And then, of course, fostering a culture of effective teamwork and communication and shared leadership. So as SBAs, you are all professional organizations, but it's also important to form a bond among you and your teammates. So make an effort to do team bonding activities, escape rooms, things of the like, just so that you understand you're all in the same boat with each other. All right, I know that was a lot of information. Does anybody have any questions? I'll give you guys a moment. I see one. Am I understanding that 9+1 says all students are to be allowed to participate in committee meetings, not just, for example, students in student government? Yes, that is correct. So typically you would only have one one student representative as a voting member, and that's usually from your student body, but all students alike, regardless of whether you're in SBA or not, should be allowed to sit in those meetings as a public member.
Michael, can I add a clarifying point?
Yes, you may.
So your statement is accurate if the meeting is a Brown Act body. If it's not a Brown Act body, students may or may not be allowed in the meeting. So some groups, some participatory groups are not required to advertise their meetings, share them at all. But if it's maybe, let's say, a committee of the Board of Trustees, that should be a Brown Act body. A committee of your SBA, those are Brown Act bodies. So those are Brown Act bodies, and there is a requirement for the public to have access. Most of your participatory governance groups are not Brown Act bodies, and so official representatives should be appointed through your student body association. So your student body association would make official representatives to that body. And then your student body association should get feedback from your general student population. So while public bodies are required to have public members and students are included as the public, not all participatory governance committees allow students to participate. That is why it's really important for student body associations to make appointments to those shared governance groups, because if you do, then you have a voice at the table. Most of the time, you don't have a voice at the table. And by the time the policies get to the Board of Trustees, then the decisions have already been made and students are left out of the conversation. So it's critical that your students are participating, and it's critical that your student body association is making those appointments. As you start out the year, you should be asking the administration, what are those committees that are meeting? When are they meeting? And how do we make our appointments to those committees?
Thank you,
Thanks, Michael.
Dr. Adams, for clarifying that. So I do stand corrected. I have another question that says, can a school's constitution or bylaws outweigh 9+1 rights? I would say no, because 9+1 rights are California law. But as Dr. Adams mentioned, within the bounds of if a committee is not Brown Act mandated by Brown Act, then your hands are kind of tied in that situation. I believe that's all we have. So thank you everyone for coming. We hope that this was informative to you. Dr. Adams, I don't know if you want to close this off.
Well, yes, I'd actually like to offer an opportunity for folks, if you have any questions regarding any of the presentations, the Roberts Rules, the Brown Act, or 9+1, now's your opportunity. We still have an hour left. Our interns were very highly effective in making their presentations, but this is an open time and opportunity for you to engage with us. If you have a question you'd like to ask, we have a number of representatives that are on this call that we can have share with you any responses. If there's a burning issue and it's not related to any of these three topics, and you just haven't been able to find a space, this might be the place that we can answer that question. If not, we'll either get back to you or point you in the right direction. So with that, if you have a question, something you want to ask, please raise your hand. I'll unmute you and you can go ahead and ask that question. I mean, even how do you get involved with SSCCC? And I think there's some.
And if you would like additional training in terms of going more in depth on Brown Act, Robert's Rules, 9+1, or just would like to learn more about SSCCC, I am going to drop a link in the chat, which is the training request form. So feel free to also use that link to request additional training.
Thank you, Jessica. And I know, Lawrence, you have a question, but I also have 3 other questions. So I'm going to take your question first, and then I'll go to the chat. There's a couple questions in the chat that I will ask and respond to. So Lawrence, hold on, let me unmute you. Okay, go ahead and unmute, Lawrence. And Lawrence is our regional affairs for 1. So if anybody's from a college in our region 1, this is Lawrence. Hi, Lawrence.
Hey, I just wanted to know where can we get the recording to share of this?
We will post this on our YouTube channel. Great question, Lawrence. We will post this on our YouTube channel, and we'll send it out to everybody who RSVP'd for this event.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And so I'll go to a question in the chat from Daniel, and I'll ask one of my interns if they want to answer. If not, I will. Can motions like point of order, point of information be objected and debated in the meeting? Any of my interns want to answer that?
I think I can answer that.
Go ahead, Michael.
So no, because a point of information or a point of order is a subsidiary motion, so it's not necessarily with the intent of taking action on anything. It's just to get the chair's attention or clarification on something. So there would be no reason, ideally, to object to one.
It's very good, Michael. It's also called an interrupting motion. So a point of order is you interrupt whatever's happening on the floor to ask that question. So thank you, Michael. The next question here is, let me see. If a school was not allowing students to attend participatory governance meeting, what do we do? They're not. And then the second part of that, will not just participatory governance ones, but all meetings held by staff. So I'll answer the second part of that first. Staff and faculty are not required to allow students to attend their meetings if it's not an open meeting, meaning a Brown Act meeting, or meeting covered by a public access meeting. You are not given any authority to attend those meetings. The only meetings that you are able to attend openly are open meetings of your board of directors, board of trustees, or meetings of the faculty are also Brown Act bodies. So you should be able to attend the academic senate meetings. The curriculum committee meetings should be Brown Act meetings as well. And then also your student body associations, Brown Act. As far as any other participatory governance meetings, if they're not standing meetings of the body, the legislative body, meaning the board of trustees, the faculty senate, or the student body association, you are not, it's not a public meeting, and they do not have to let you in there. But that's why it's really important to develop relationships with those bodies. When you develop relationships and you're genuinely interested in participating in the conversation and giving that student perspective by developing that relationship, that's where you are given entry into them. So relation building is really, really important for students as you move through the shared governance process. So building a reputation as somebody who genuinely cares about students and giving their student voice, they should allow you in there, but they do not have to allow you in there. And then if you are not allowed in a public meeting or a appointed meeting, or a public meeting, or if you are the student body representative to a group and they are not allowing you to participate in those meetings, that's where you would talk to your administration. And if you go all the way up to the president, if they are not allowing official representatives to those bodies to participate in there. I'm not sure, Denise, if I answered that question correctly. If I didn't, raise your hand and we'll unmute you so you can explain a little further. Another question here. Can you ask, what does SBAs do if there's a violation of our 9+1 rights? So if there's a violation of your 9+1 rights, you need to make sure in those 9 areas, students have a right to participate in those areas. That means you have a right to participate on committees in those areas. For example, Michael mentioned curriculum committees or curriculum. And if you go and you're not allowed to go to a curriculum committee meeting or participate in a curriculum committee meeting, since that is more than likely a Brown Act body or should be a Brown Act body, and you are the appointed representative to that group and they are not allowing you to participate, that is again when you go talk to your administration all the way up to the president. If the president is not allowing the official representative, that's the key. You have to be the official representative who actually speaks on behalf of the entire student population. If you are not allowed to participate in there and the president is not allowing you or they're restricting you, then you go to your board of trustees and make a public announcement. And so you have a right for the official representative to be able to participate in that group. I hope I answered that question. The next question was, if an advisor chooses not to pay an SBA for their meetings after they were previously paid for them, does this example violate a 9+1? No, that does not violate a 9+1. The paying the SBA comes from the SBA itself. No matter what your colleges say, the student body, the student rep fee, it belongs to the students. That means the students should have control over the dollars from the student rep fee. That's money. This colleges take care of that money, but who spends it, how you spend it, all comes your student body associations. Now, there are some requirements on what you can spend that money on. For example, the student rep fee can only be spent on advocacy events. So in any of your shared governance committees, you can get paid for sitting on them. Attending any advocacy conferences, like our own student senate one. We have one coming up in November for the Advocacy Academy. Those funds can be used to send students to travel to that. The monies can even be used to pay officers of your student body association or all students on your student body associations. Those take action of the student body association, but that money belongs to students, not to advisors. Not that they do not have the authority to tell you all how to spend your money. And if you have any questions or concerns about that, feel free to reach out to us and we can answer any questions you have on that. Let's see. I think I have all the questions. If there's any other questions out there, folks want to, if you can see, those are examples of questions that didn't necessarily get touched on in the presentation, but were questions that folks had. So if there's anybody else has any questions, raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Now's your opportunity. Go ahead and unmute and ask your question. I think it's Vivek. Did I pronounce that correctly? Oh, yeah.
So how could a student get involved in your committees?
How can the student get involved in what committees?
The SSC's
Okay, so that's a
The
really good
committees.
question. Thank you very much. So there's committees at your region level. So if you're in a region, if you're not sure what region you're in, that's on our website, ssccc.org. But each of our regions has committees. They have a legislative affairs committee. They have a communications committee. They have a finance committee. So they have a number of committees. In September, the delegate assemblies will be meeting in each of the regions, and on that agenda will be a committee appointments. So if you're interested in serving at the region level on those committees, they will discuss the committees and make appointments there. So that's one way. Another way are the participatory governance group. Now, this is a really, really important place to serve if you have limited time and you don't necessarily have time to get involved with the SSCCC on a regional level. We have what's called participatory governance of committees at the state level. There are 25 of those committees. Those committees they touch on topics such as rising scholars, such as transfer, such as equitable placement, distance education, telecommunications. There's a whole list of them. We have about 25 of them that are on our website and will be updated very soon. And those are committees that we will appoint folks. That's where real policies are made at the state level. So students that sit at that level are influencing policies at the state level that impact all California community colleges, not just your campus. And so you should check those out. Not only that, for students who offer to volunteer to serve on those committees, they actually get paid $25 an hour. So we pay you an hour for prep time, and then every hour you sit on that committee and you turn in a report, though you get $25 an hour. So it's a great opportunity, one, influence policy, and two, make a little pocket money. I will drop in the chat the link to those committees. Just know that they'll be updated in the next week or two. So some of the committees are there, but there's more committees to put in there. So I'm going to drop that in the chat if you're interested. And most of your committees meet about 4 to 6 times a year, so it's not a heavy lift. So did I answer your question?
I was wondering how I join those committees.
How do you join them?
Yeah.
So you would be appointed to those committees. You would go onto there, figure out which committee you want to serve, put in an application. We screen the applications for a number of issues: diversity, major, interests, campus sometimes. And then we reach out to you to see if you're still interested. If you're interested, then we make appointments. So the participatory ones at the state level are through appointments. The one at the regional level are also from appointments, but those are from the regions.
So I'm going to apply for the governance.
You break up a little bit. Say that again.
How could I apply for them?
I just dropped the link in the
How
chat.
could I apply?
I just dropped the link in the
Also,
chat.
yeah. Will there be attendance taken for this meeting?
Yes.
So is it automatic or is there a form?
There's a form.
Attendance form?
It depends on the committee.
This meeting. Is it an attendance form?
It depends on the committee. So are there any other questions? Does anybody else have any other questions? Well, if there are no other questions, thank you for attending our webinar today. As I mentioned, we will send out the recording from this webinar out to everybody who RSVP'd. And everybody should have received a link to this. So if you did, you RSVP'd. We'll send out the recording as well as the PowerPoints used during this presentation to everybody. And if you have any questions, you can email us, and I'll just drop down our generic email address so that you have it in the chat. That way, if you have any generic emails, you can go ahead and email there and somebody will point you to the appropriate direction. And then I'll hand it back to you, Jessica, and see if there's anything else you want to close out.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Adams. And thank you all for taking the time to learn more about these very important topics that apply to almost every single one of you. If you would like to get more information about these topics, I know it was a lot of information. So we don't expect you all to memorize everything that we just discussed. And if you would like more information on that, feel free to fill out the training and request form or send us an email. And I will also encourage all of you to go to our website, ssccc.org, and learn more about Advocacy Academy. Our early registration is open now, so feel free to look more into that. If you have any questions, send us an email. But we really appreciate your attendance and for those of you that participated. So thank you all very much, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Bye, everyone.